Welcome to side 2 of your Mr. Birthday and Friends cassette. We're now going to hear from another of the Mr. Men, who is going to be telling us all about his birthday. Really? Which one of my Mr. Men friends is it? Well, if I said it's not Mr. Bump or Mr. Clumsy, but he does have nearly as many scrapes and accidents as they both do, can you guess who it is? Not Mr. Bump or Mr. Clumsy, but he nearly has as many accidents. Let me see. Oh, could it be somebody like Mr. Bounce? Good guess, Mr. Birthday. You're right. So let's listen to Mr. Bounce as he tells us all about what happened on his birthday.
Mr. Bounce, My Birthday, by Roger Hargraves. Hello, my name is Mr. Bounce! Bounce! Oh, help! Here I go again. There is nothing I can do about it. Bounce, 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 all day long. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Ah, that's better. Now, I was going to tell you all about my birthday, which was today. It was a lovely sunny morning when I woke up. The birds were singing in the tree outside my window. I jumped out of bed and bounce! The next thing I knew, I was sitting on a branch up in the tree with the birds. Oh dear. I bounced right out of the window. And I had so hoped that today was going to be a bounce-free day because I have so much to do. You see, I'm having a party. I couldn't hang around in that tree all day long. So I climbed down, and while I ate breakfast, I made a list of all the things I needed for my party. Cake, balloons, candles, jelly, and ice cream. The doorbell rang. It was Mr. Stamp, the postman. "Happy birthday, Mr. Bounce," he said. "I've got lots of birthday cards for you." And there were. There were all sorts of shapes and sizes and colours. There was a very large gold card from Little Miss Splendid, a Christmas card from Mr. Wrong, of course, and there was an empty envelope from Mr. Forgetful. He had forgotten to put the card in. Silly old Mr. Forgetful. Once I had opened all my cards, I decided to go into Tiddletown to do my shopping for the party. But as I went out through the door, I tripped over the doorstep. Bounce, 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 all the way down to Farmer Barley's farmyard, which was a long way in the wrong direction from Tiddletown. "Help!" I cried as I flew towards his duck pond. Luckily, Mr. Strong caught me. He was collecting eggs for his lunch. I thanked him and began the long walk to Tiddletown. By the time I got there, it was already mid-morning. Just as I was about to step into Mrs. Green's grocery store, Mr. Bump came out. You can guess what happened next. Bump, bounce, 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 all the way down Tiddletown High Street, right into Mr. Greedy's tummy, which was very nice for me, but not so good for him. "Oh!" gasped Mr. Greedy. "I'm sorry," I said. "That's all right," said Mr. Greedy. "Where were you going?" "To Mrs. Green's grocery store." "I'll give you a hand," said Mr. Greedy, and he helped me to get back to the shop. "See you later," said Mr. Greedy. "Later?" I asked. "At your party," said Mr. Greedy, and licked his lips. All that bouncing around had almost made me forget it was my birthday. I looked up at the town clock and realised it was getting late. I rushed in and bought everything I needed. Remembering the look on Mr. Greedy's face, I bought 3 extra tubs of ice cream. I rushed out of the shop. "Eek!" shrieked Mr. Jelly, who had been standing beside the door. Mr. Jelly's shriek made me jump in the air with surprise. When I landed, I bounced and bounced and bounced right out of town, and in the wrong direction, of course. Luckily, Mr. Strong, who was on his way home from the farm, caught me again. "This is getting to be a bit of a habit," he said. I was now a very long way from home. I was going to be late for my own party. "All this bouncing is not helping me," I said to Mr. Strong. "Well, maybe I can help," he said. He bent down and whispered in my ear. Then he picked me up and threw me, shopping basket and all. As you might imagine, one of Mr. Strong's throws is quite some throw. I landed in the middle of Tiddletown High Street, and then, with one extraordinary large bounce, I found myself back at home. Wow, that's the way to travel. I had plenty of time to get everything ready for the party, which was a great success. Everyone came, and they all brought me presents. Now that they've all gone home, I'm going to open them. Here's a very large parcel. Who's it from? Mr. Silly. Now, I wonder what Mr. Silly has given me. Oh, no. Just what I've always needed. A trampoline.
Did you enjoy that story about Mr. Bounce, Mr. Birthday? Oh, yes, I did. But trust Mr. Silly to buy Mr. Bounce the silliest possible present. The thought of Mr. Bounce bouncing up and down, up and down, up and down on a trampoline is making me feel quite dizzy. Oh, dear. But look, someone's just arrived, and I'm sure he can make you feel better and cheer you up. Really? Who is it? It's me, Mr. Tickle. Tickle, tickle, tickle. Oh, stop it, Mr. Tickle. Stop it, please. I'm very ticklish. Righty-o, but just one more for luck. Tickle, tickle, tickle. Oh, you look a bit happier now, Mr. Birthday. Oh, yes, I am. I don't feel dizzy anymore, but my sides ache with giggling. I do like a good tickle. Anyway, my work is done, and that makes 14 today. Mr. Birthday makes 14? What do you mean, Mr. Tickle? Mr. Birthday is the 14th person I've tickled today. Goodness me, that is a lot of tickles for one day. Oh, I can tickle many more people than that in a day, but I'd better get going now. Where are you going to in such a hurry, Mr. Tickle? I'm off into town to tickle as many people as I can while they are shopping. Well, Mr. Tickle, you might be able to tickle Mr. Chatterbox. He was here not so long ago, and he was on his way into town to buy some food. Thanks for letting me know that, Mr. Birthday. I like tickling Mr. Chatterbox, because when I tickle him, then he tells everyone about it over and over and over again. Goodbye then, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye, Mr. Tickle. Goodbye, Mr. Birthday. Tickle, tickle, tickle. Oh, I do like Mr. Tickle. We all do, Mr. Birthday. Now, just before Mr. Tickle arrived, we heard Mr. Bounce telling us all about his birthday. Shall we listen to a song about him now? Oh, yes, that would be lovely. I expect it's full of bouncing. Why, yes, but what else would you expect from Mr. Bounce?
Mr. Bounce was very small. He was like a rubber ball. His feet touched the ground with a mighty bound. He bounced his way around. Mr. Bounce jumped out of bed. You can guess what happened next. He bounced on the floor and out of the door, and he bounced his way downstairs. Bouncing out of windows and bouncing out of doors. help me out? Can you give me something to stop me bouncing about? I think I have the answer, the doctor said to him. I have some heavy goods that I think you could get in. Mr. Bouncy went to bed to rest his weary head. He did not bounce a tiny ounce, but he fell through the floor instead. Mr. Bouncy cannot win, he never does give in. He did not bounce a tiny ounce, but he fell through the floor instead. Bouncing out of windows and bouncing out of doors, bouncing into duck ponds, just bouncing more and more. Bouncing out of windows and bouncing out of doors, bouncing into duck ponds, just bouncing more and more. Bouncing into tables and bouncing into doors, bouncing into ceilings, just bouncing more and more.
Oh dear. What's wrong, Mr. Birthday? Are you all right? It's just that whilst we were listening to the song about Mr. Bounce, Mr. Stamp the postman was passing by, and he gave me this. A letter. What does it say, Mr. Birthday? Well, actually, it's not a letter, it's an invitation. An invitation? That's nice. Who's it from? It's from Mr. Fussy. From Mr. Fussy? Well, what's wrong with that? Oh, nothing, I suppose. It's just that it's an invitation to go to Mr. Fussy's house for tea, and I always get nervous because I worry that I might not be dressed smartly enough. Oh, Mr. Birthday, I think Mr. Fussy will be very pleased to see you, just like everyone always is. I don't think Mr. Fussy will mind what you wear, as long as you're wearing your party hat and your usual big happy smile. Have you ever been to Mr. Fussy's house for tea? No, I don't think I have, Mr. Birthday. Why do you ask? Well, when you arrive, he always makes you stand to attention just inside the front door. And if there's more than one of you invited for tea, you have to stand in line. But why does he make you do that, Mr. Birthday? It's Mr. Fussy's inspection time, and he only lets you stay for tea if you are smart enough to pass his inspection. Really, Mr. Birthday? Are you making this up? No, it's true, I tell you. If he thinks that you are not as smartly dressed as him, and you know that Mr. Fussy is always very smart indeed, then you have to go home and get changed before you can go in and have tea with him. Really? I never knew that, Mr. Birthday. Oh, yes. And he also says a rhyme as he's inspecting you, and he then takes you into his sitting room. A rhyme? Can we hear it, Mr. Birthday? Oh, yes, of course. Here's a recording. The rhyme is called Mr. Fussy's Inspection Time Rhyme.
Mr. Fussy, neat and tidy, smart and trim, everyone likes to look at him. Tie straight, laces pressed, very proper when he's dressed. Stand to attention, all in a line. It's Mr. Fussy's inspection time. By the left, quick, yours!
There, do you see what I mean? Yes, I do. I think we'd all better remember that rhyme, should we ever get invited to Mr. Fussy's house for tea. Oh, look, here comes Mr. Greedy. Hello, everyone. Hello, Mr. Birthday. Did I hear you talking about tea? Hello, Mr. Greedy. Yes, you did. I've just received an invitation to tea from Mr. Fussy. Oh, so did I. I just bumped into Mr. Stamp the postman, and I was asking him if he had eaten his sandwiches that he carries for his lunch, because I am so hungry and I fancied a sandwich or 12. Anyway, no sandwiches, but he gave me my invitation. Oh, I do hope Mr. Fussy's tea is worth dressing up for. I'll tell you what, to cheer you both up. Do you want to hear a story about one of the Mr. Men who had to be very brave when he got invited to someone's house for tea? Oh, yes, please. Very well, Mr. Birthday. What about you, Mr. Greedy? In this story, what kind of tea was it? High tea? Afternoon tea? A cup of tea? A cream tea? Or a birthday tea? Oh, I love a big birthday tea, with all those sandwiches and buns and sausage rolls and cake and jelly and ice cream and... I'm not sure what kind of tea it was, Mr. Greedy. Well, can we all say that it was a birthday tea? Very well, Mr. Greedy, if it makes you happy. Oh, yes, it does. A birthday tea. Yummy. Who is this story about? Good question, Mr. Birthday. If it is a story about someone being brave, it could only be about my good friend Mr. Brave. That's right, Mr. Birthday. So here's a story about Mr. Brave. Has anyone got a spare slice of birthday cake that I can eat while I listen to the story? Mr. Brave by Roger Hargreaves. Mr. Brave is not as strong as Mr. Strong. He is not as tall as Mr. Tall. But that does not stop him being brave, as you will soon see. Now, last Tuesday, little Miss Bossy invited Mr. Brave to tea. "And don't be late," she shouted down the phone. It was a very stormy day, but Mr. Brave knew that little Miss Bossy's temper was worse. So he set off for little Miss Bossy's house, hurrying along as fast as he could, to be sure that he was not late for tea. Along the way he heard a cry for help. It was Mr. Messy. He had been blown into the river by the wind. Mr. Brave did not want to be late for little Miss Bossy, but being the brave fellow he was, he jumped in and rescued Mr. Messy. Wet right through, he hurried along the lane. Suddenly, he heard someone sobbing loudly. Who could it be? It was little Miss Somersault. She was balancing on a tightrope tied between two tall trees. "Oh, Mr. Brave, I'm so lonely," she sobbed. "Nobody will come and play on my tightrope. They're all too frightened of heights. You're so brave. Won't you come and join me?" Mr. Brave looked up at little Miss Somersault. Then he thought about little Miss Bossy, but being the brave fellow he was, he took pity on little Miss Somersault and climbed up onto the tightrope. They chatted away happily for a while until Mr. Brave happened to look down. "Little Miss Somersault, look! The rope is going to snap. We're going to fall, and it's such a long way to the bottom. Oh, calamity! Oh, help!" he cried out in panic. "Be brave, Mr. Brave," said little Miss Somersault. And without more ado, she carried him safely back down to the ground. "Oh, thank you," said Mr. Brave with a sigh of relief. Little Miss Somersault said goodbye, and Mr. Brave was left on his own, shaking like a leaf. "I don't deserve to be called Mr. Brave. I was scared stiff. Thank goodness nobody knows my secret," he said to himself. And nobody does know his secret, or do they? Little Miss Trouble just happened to be passing and had seen everything, and what she had seen and heard had given her an idea. A very naughty idea. She grinned a mischievous grin. "Hey, come here, everybody! Come and see this!" she shouted at the top of her voice. Very quickly, a large crowd gathered. "I have an announcement," announced little Miss Trouble. "Did you know that Mr. Brave isn't brave at all?" "No, it can't be true," said the crowd all together. "It is true," said little Miss Trouble, "and I'll prove it to you. Mr. Brave," she continued, "I dare you to walk across that tightrope." Mr. Brave looked up at the tightrope, and all the crowd looked up at the tightrope. Then all the crowd looked at Mr. Brave. Mr. Brave suddenly remembered something, a very important something. "Just look at the time," he cried. "I'm going to be late for tea at little Miss Bossy's. Must dash," he cried, and he ran off as quickly as possible. "Hooray!" cheered the crowd, and they all clapped and applauded Mr. Brave. Little Miss Trouble looked puzzled. Why are you all cheering him?" she cried. "He ran away. He isn't brave at all." "Oh, yes, he is," they all shouted. "Would you turn up late for tea at Little Miss Bossy's house?" Little Miss Trouble thought for a moment. "Gosh, he is brave after all," she said in awe. Well, I don't know about you, Mr. Birthday, but I think Mr. Brave has to be braver to risk arriving late for tea at Little Miss Bossy's house than you have to be in dressing smartly to go to Mr. Fussy's house. You're right. I feel a lot better now. What about you, Mr. Greedy? Do you feel happier after listening to Mr. Brave's story? Oh, I wasn't really listening. I was thinking about all the food at Little Miss Bossy's tea. Oh, I feel really, 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 really hungry now. I'm going to have to go to the baker's and buy some cream cakes. About 20 should do it. Goodbye, I'll see you soon. Oh, goodbye, Mr. Greedy. Do you know how Mr. Brave helps to keep himself feeling brave, Mr. Birthday? No, I don't. What does he do to keep himself feeling brave? He has his very own song with a brave dance in it, which he does every day. Do you want to hear it? Oh, yes, please, I'd love to. Very well, Mr. Birthday. Here's Mr. Brave's special song, which is called Mr. Brave's Dance. I hope everyone is going to join in with the actions. I'm looking forward to going to Mr. Fussy's house for tea after listening to Mr. Brave's song. That's good, Mr. Birthday. It's not very nice when you feel nervous about going somewhere, is it? No, it's not. Oh, look, here comes Mr. Silly and Mr. Funny. Oh, yes. Hello, Mr. Silly. Hello, Mr. Funny. Good night. Hello there. Good to see you. Let me shake you by the foot. It's lovely to see you, but what are you both doing here? We've come to fry some sausages. No, we haven't. We've come to help you sing a special song. And look, I've brought one of my favourite musical instruments to play as we sing. Musical instrument? Well, all I can see is a bunch of bananas. Yes, that's right. I'm going to play the bananas. And I'm going to sing like a cabbage. Playing bananas? Singing like cabbages? What's going on, Mr. Birthday? We are going to finish with the song that is always sung to someone when it's their birthday. That's right. We're going to sing We Wish You a Merry Christmas. No, not We Wish You a Merry Christmas. I know. We're going to sing Hop Along Like the Easter Bunny. No. We are going to sing Happy Birthday to You. Squash, tomatoes and stew, with bread and butter in the gutter. Now that's enough of that, Mr. Silly and Mr. Funny. Mr. Birthday, would you please introduce the song for us? Of course I will. As we're coming to the end of our time together, we'd like to finish with a special song just for you if it's your birthday today or sometime soon. And because I'm Mr. Birthday and I love birthday parties, then this song is my absolute favourite song ever.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday from the Mr. Men. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday from the Mr. Men. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, I wish I could sing like that. It'd be my favourite song as well. Your favourite song? You've got no voice at all. Oh, yes, I have. But go on then, join in if you like.
Happy birthday to you.
Squash, tomatoes and stew.
To you.
With bread and butter in the gutter.
Birthday from the Mr. Men. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, we've had a wonderful time. Oh, I'm quite worn out, you know, worn out. It's all that I do is jigging as well. Well, we've come to the end of Mr. Birthday and Friends. So would you like to say goodbye, Mr. Birthday? Yes, I would. Goodbye, and thank you for listening to all of our Mr. Men stories and songs. If you've enjoyed listening to us, you can listen to us all over again and again. And if it is your birthday, then we'd like to wish you happy birthday on behalf of all your favourite Mr. Men characters. And if you have a birthday party, then watch out, because I may be there. Happy birthday. Merry Christmas. Enjoy your Easter eggs. Now, behave yourselves. Oh, that's enough. Goodbye, everyone, and thank you for listening to Mr. Birthday and Friends. Oh, where are you going, Mr. Birthday? I'm off to organise another fantastic birthday party for one of the Mr. Men. Is it Mr. Christmas? No. Hopefully it's a surprise party for me. I'll come and help you, but I'll keep my eyes closed, then I won't spoil the surprise. So, as Mr. Birthday and his friends start to organise their next Mr. Men party, it's goodbye from us all. Goodbye, and happy birthday. Yes, lots of red balloons, I think. Red baboons, green monkeys, and yellow ribbons too. Yellow gibbons. Gibbons? No, Mr. Funny, not yellow gibbons, yellow ribbons. Oh, I do like to see monkeys at a birthday party.